800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
And as the world turns, welcome back to season 742. No, actually, some crazy stuff going on in Paris. Right now, get you crazy stuff going on in Paris.
So I heard.
Yeah, I heard a baguette fire has erupted inside of Notre Dame, and it's burning to the ground, actually. No, that's not funny, man. Oh, so if you're just catching up, this is Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Welcome to the show. Little off topic, although Paris is probably my favorite food city, at least when you think about it in theory, when you think about it, it seems like the place to go to have dinner and walk around and get a glass of wine and view the Seine River and all the other beautiful sights of Paris. But yes, unfortunately, right now they were doing like $6.1 million of renovation to Notre Dame, and the church is on fire. And it looks like it's going to burn to the ground, unfortunately. So
sad.
It is. Keep your eye on that, folks. Yeah, sad news, sad news. But at least the baguette shops didn't burn down, and I'm sorry. That's such a beautiful building. I've been in the structure a couple of times. It was like a 5-hour drive from Cologne, where I lived. Sorry, Tom's like, dude, you're not funny today. This is not funny. VP of Sales Tom, Mr. T, is in house today, as always on Mondays. With how was your weekend?
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
was it really fun?
Yesterday was beautiful weather. It rained all day Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to take some.
But all good.
I'm going to take some notes from Tom here. And I'm going to slow down. I'll lower my voice a little bit. Say, yeah, it was a good weekend.
There was a mentor of ours that told us, raise your voice, lower your voice.
High, low, fast, slow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He was actually pretty good at that, too.
Unfortunately, he ran into a train.
Yeah, well, I guess he needed to go a little faster when he was slowing down at one point. Oh, God, that was terrible, but I love it. Oh, yes, anyway, as you can tell, we still are missing Doc quite terribly around here.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you guys do this weekend? Anything? Did you grill out?
Did not. We, where did we go?
Did you watch Tiger win yesterday?
Yes, we did.
Damn, what a comeback.
Well, actually, we saw the replay of it.
Yeah.
Because they started it early yesterday, the final.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
And we had gone out and then came back and saw that, yes.
Pretty cool, huh?
I'm happy for him. Very happy.
Well, he struggled for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? That just goes to show you it's a little bit inspiration for us all today, because for a lot of us, we wake up and go, "Oh my God, it's Monday. I want to go to work." Or in Chef's cases, we're like, "I don't want to go to work. It's Monday. Oh wait, we have today off, but I have everything like laundry and all of my errands to run in one day." And then we always stop by the restaurant anyway. And we tend to be hungover on Mondays because Sunday was our celebratory last shift of the week. Yeah. Not anymore. Not me. I mean, I don't drink on the weekends. Well, I don't even really drink at all, do I? You've never seen me drink, have you, Tom?
No. we just have it around the studio a lot.
Yeah. I swear those empty whiskey bottles behind this little bar right here, not mine. Not mine.
And we look forward to our Monday night board meetings.
We do, actually. And we're going to start doing that show pretty soon. So I don't know if you've seen the lineup on Spoony lately, but if you go to Spoony.com, you can go. There's an actual show page that's there's a couple. There's the show host page, and then there's the schedule. But man, we have a lot of programming now. I think we're up to 13 shows.
You're doing a great job bringing in show hosts. Absolutely. And good shows.
Well, I have to say, so everyone here has brought in at least one show host, right? Doc found Elisa Shakespeare. We met her at the NRA Food Show last year. And then Ron, he's the one that found Trey Chapman. I mean, I'd seen him on there, but he was the one that said, hey, you got to call this guy. So Trey came in with Trey's Chat on Live. I guess Gwen Rich came in. We all knew her, but I think obviously because Doc was a big, they had a long-term relationship. Did you hear her show today? She went live for the first time today.
I did not.
All right, so Gwen Rich of The Rich Solution, she was on live this morning at 9 a.m. Central, so it was 10 East Coast. She's live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I think we'll do replays on Tuesdays, Saturdays. There's a Thursday show that's in that slot with the Atrantillo. That's Dr. Ken.
Yes.
Dr. Ken Brown, the famous butt doctor, as he likes to say, gastroenterologist, and his co-host, what Wait, Mr. Rieger, right? Eric Rieger?
Eric.
I didn't say the K in front of it this time. So they're live 2 hours and on Thursdays. Who else? Matt? Oh, is it Rob Jones? Rob Jones was in studio on Friday. Did you hear him?
No.
Okay, so on Friday, we have Cheryl Heisler calls in from Mixed Metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt from our other channel had actually found a gentleman who does a cigar podcast. So what we did is, Cheryl, on Fridays, we do a What Are We Drinking Friday? What Are We Drinking Saturday? And for some reason, I schedule those posts. They're not going up. I'll post them manually. And we discuss a drink that she creates for those days. One for Friday, one for Saturday. We do them every week. And sometimes we talk food and how you would pair that. But without telling Cheryl, and she's so descriptive in the notes and the nuances of all these wonderful liqueurs that are in these drinks, I decided that I was going to go ahead and after she cited the drink, I paired a food item with it, and then I had Rob actually pair a cigar with that.
Wow, cool.
For after the meal. It was fun. It was really cool. So I think we might be doing that on Fridays. But he's going to throw a cigar talk. It's called Cigar Talk, with Rob Jones. There you go. Pretty straight and simple. I don't know what day. Do you put it on the weekend, maybe?
Oh, is that different than the night one we're going to have also?
That's going to be from
Paladin.
Yeah, Paladin, right? Paladin Cigars, where we did the ride-on game.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and by the way, I need to make a little meme of you, or like a little those little what's that called? Boomerang video.
Yeah.
I need to pull the video. So if you haven't seen it, we did this live broadcast from Paladin Cigars. And Tom was pretty happy that something, this little event occurred, and he may or may not have been caught twerking.
My first time on camera.
That was I'm telling you, that was actually
go down in infamy.
No, come on, that was one of the funniest things. Come on, I don't think I've laughed that hard in probably 10 years, any of us. Anyway, I didn't mean to embarrass you. He's like, I'll get you back. I'll get you back for the crappy chicken you cooked me. No, it was dry, Patrick. It was dry.
Hey, we made chicken salad out of it.
So it was dry. Wow.
A little extra mayo.
Yeah, oh, no. Oh, you had to go there, didn't you? So as you know, every Monday, Tom joins me in studio for the first, as much of the first half hour as he can, to ask, what's Tom's daily special? His question of the week. Not always regarding restaurant operations, but some sort of explanatory, anything I can do or make up to explain the reason behind some question that Tom comes up with. Right. So this week's question would be...
Well, I have two because you didn't finish answering last week's.
Okay, so let's start with that one.
Okay, so you go into the restaurant Tuesday night. The special for tonight is, and it's different from Wednesday night special, and it's different from Thursday nights. What makes you decide what the special is going to be?
Okay, yes. So that came up, but I don't think we ever got to address it. So there are 3 reasons. There can be more reasons, but typically there are 3 reasons that you're going to create a special. One is that it's seasonal. It's something available only at that time of year. I talk about ramps all the time, a very expensive wild onion, basically, and that's when you want to create something special that's very, again, seasonally available for the guest. It could be that something like halibut is just coming into season. Not that the season is very short and that it's not always available frozen, but you want to kind of bring it in because it's the latest, greatest, hottest menu item for that season. Secondly, specials are a great way to test new menu items. So if I'm going to put a new cut of steak, or if I'm going to put a new pasta dish on the menu, I would run that as a special first, and I would run it for maybe a week. So if you see a special that runs for a period of time, one of two things: either the vendor is doing a promotion on that item, and so you're trying to get the cost benefit, and maybe it replaces something that's a little more expensive on the menu to prepare. That's a big seller, and then you can recommend that special over that, or you're just testing out a new menu item, right? So the last reason is that kind of the leftover reason. If you're going to repurpose something.
That was my fear.
Yeah. No, but let me give you an example of how this works really well for the client, for the guest. So I used to do this osobuco. Okay, and it's a veal shank. It's basically a cross cut of a cow's foreleg, and You slow roast it. It's wonderful. You've had osobuco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great, delicious meal. But the thing is, what if you have a bunch left over as a chef? So you ran it Friday and Saturday night. It's on the menu every night, but by Saturday night you have a bunch left over. Well, you could do a few things. And what I used to do is we scrape all that meat off the bone. I mean, because there's a lot on there. It's that cut is like 2 inches across, right? The bone in the center is 2 inches across, and you probably have about 1.5 inches to 3 inches of meat, depending on how big that cut was, all the way around the outside of that, and it's probably 2 inches tall. So you scrape all that off and you break it up, and then I would make like you could do two ways: something with a rich mushroom gravy in it, or you could do something with a little bit of a Texas twang, not barbecue-y, but almost barbecue. And then I would serve that on Texas toast. So if you're going to do it with a barbecue style, it became like a Texas eggs Benedict. So you put that with a poached egg over the Texas toast, and then a little hollandaise sauce on top, and it didn't suck, let me tell you. And the other way you could do it, you could make another dinner special of it, where if you made that rich mushroom gravy, you could add that in, and you could serve it over rice. It's like, you call it veal tips and rice, or roasted veal and rice. But that's one of the reasons. And typically, restaurant specials, if they have the same special the same day of the week, they're not always designed, especially if it's not a standalone restaurant, not an like an independent restaurant. If it's a chain, they typically plan those so that they can purchase across the board and get discounts, and they don't plan today's special based on what yesterday's stuff was, usually. So, did that answer your question, or did I just confuse you more?
That's good.
Tom's like,
I was thinking about this, that the listeners could write into info@spoony.com. And,
yes, they could.
And start asking us some of these questions that I can be their voice here. And
actually, that would be good. So what they could do is they could, you could put in there, so you could write their question of the week, right? And that way I'll know not to open them. I'll make sure they get forwarded. Well, make sure you're on that email. All right. So we'll make sure that those get opened by Tom. I won't look at those. If I get a notification, I'll just let that go. Because other show hosts and stuff that want to, other potential show hosts that, want to contact me usually use that address. But that'd be awesome. So you can, if you want to call in or write in, call into an email address. That's info@spoony.com. But in the subject line, put question of the week, and then if it's deemed worthy, then Master Tom here will read it the following Monday, or maybe another Monday.
And I take bribes.
So in the form of gold bullion, checks, cash, or food.
Send the food box.
Have you ever tried those home meal services?
No.
No? I've never tried one of the modern day. We should do that. We should order one, and we'll open it up right here. And then I will say what I like and what I don't like about it. And we won't tell the name, but I'll just say how that could have maybe been a little different.
Let's do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, none of those companies make money.
And what we should do is we'll do a 4-week campaign, and each week we'll do one of the different services, because there's 3 or 4 of them out there.
There are a bunch. Yeah, Blue Apron's right here in Dallas.
Right.
I mean, they might just send us one for the heck of it. And,
hey, if you're listening, Blue Apron.
Well, we should contact them anyway. I think they'd be a no-brainer. I should get their chef in here. We could talk about how they develop their menu, actually. That's a real labor-intensive product to make. The packaging, the cost of the packaging, and then the fact that it's delivered overnight. It's
How are they making money on that?
They don't. So Blue Apron, and I may be picking on them in a way that's not fair, but I don't think they've ever had a quarter where they made money, where they were in the red, or in the black, I mean. Well, they've had some huge investors. It doesn't mean that these companies won't make money, but as of yet, I haven't seen any that do. And look, Stephen Hollingshead and I, in Houston, bringdinnerhome.com. Woo! Sounds good, doesn't it? Bringdinnerhome.com. Order till 11 p.m. tonight. Get your meal delivered tomorrow, anytime between 8 and 5. You don't even have to be home. Yeah. We had there were a few little logistical issues we had. The kitchen we had was near Hobby Airport, which, if you don't know, at that time in 2001 was, can we say BFE? Okay, kind of. It was in the middle of, not in the middle of nowhere, but it was really not in the heart of the consumer we were targeting, not in the heart of that area. And so we had a clientele base that was all over this, all over the city. And that's a big city.
It is.
Yeah. So secondly, probably most importantly, the website was very heavily loaded with photos. And if you remember back in, 2001, what did everybody have? Everybody had dial-up.
Internet.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Welcome to AOL. You have mail.
Took a while to open up the pictures.
Oh, yeah, a long time. Like sometimes the first page would take 20, 30 minutes. And then, of course, you go to the second page and people are like, okay, I'm just really tired of being on here. It was an awesome service. Great food, very, very cost effective, but it was we couldn't get the momentum we needed. Although we had a great clientele base that grew exponentially monthly, we just couldn't grow fast enough. And we had these custom trucks built. I say we, Steven. They were awesome. They were very cool. We had custom boxes built to deliver everything in. We even for $7 a month, you could rent a locking dorm style refrigerator that we would put either on your front porch, on your back porch, or if you had dogs and you didn't want it outside, then we would install an e-key so we could open your garage. It would the crystal would match the one on your garage door, so we'd walk in, open the box, put all of the portioned, cleaned product in a bag with the recipes, close it up, stick it in there, and locked. It had this dorm little locking mechanism on the top. It was awesome. Oh. He had thought of everything, except dial-up. Ahead of our time, I'm telling you. I don't know how many times that's happened. You ever been ahead of your time with something, an idea?
No.
Yeah.
I wish I could say.
Well, I think we're right on time with. I think we're right on time with Spoony Radio.
We're here.
Yeah, finally we're. We may have hit one out of the park on this one, but still we will stick. We take free money. We take bribes. No, we don't take bribes, do we? Tom's
Speak for yourself.
Well, okay, not for anything that could be important anyway. All right, so yes, I think I answered that. The three main reasons, right? So, seasonal, test new menu items, and because you want to repurpose a product. Repurpose. Okay. We're not reusing leftovers. We're repurposing something that hasn't been served that is still of viable quality.
That still has shelf life. Yes,
of at least that day.
Gotcha.
All right. So, what's your second question today?
So, now we're talking about pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm an East Coast guy, and you can't get good East Coast pizza in Texas for the most part.
Yeah, until very recently, there's a couple.
And when I lived in Atlanta, the same problem. And somebody used to tell us it was in the water and the atmosphere, and there are a couple of sandwich shops in Atlanta that flew in their Philly rolls every morning so they could make good sandwiches.
And okay.
So I can't find a good roll or a good pizza.
Well, it can be one of multiple things. One, the lack of talent, right? The lack of the knowledge base. It's really hard for me to find a great bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a New York bagel shop around here, like a New York style bagel shop? I haven't seen one. I haven't looked either, but I mean, usually I hear of one if there is one. And you're right. So it's multifold. Lack of talent, lack of the ingredients, which could be, that's kind of multi-layered as well. So if you don't have an easy access to the ingredients that are cost effective, then it's very difficult to produce that product. So flying that flour in, or even, fly it in, but getting it from a specialty vendor who, maybe they don't have a large clientele base here in this area, you may have to special order the product, which is expensive when you're using something like Cisco, and then you have to order a minimum amount. A lot of times you have to pre-order it and guarantee that you use this much by the end of the year, or you just can't get it here and you have to have it drop shipped in which case it's very expensive. The other thing is, we talked a couple of things: humidity, and then the quality of the water that's available. So if you take any water out there and you just filter it, it still doesn't end up the same on the other side, because some of the impurities you're filtering out, I mean, it all ends up as basically filtered water on the other side. But a lot of times you don't want to filter out some of those things. Like in Cologne, it's very hard for anyone anywhere in the world to make the same beer as they do in Cologne, Germany. Kölsch, or I don't know how you say it in English, but it's Koelsh, right? It's very difficult because the water is unique there. I don't know if it's the hardness. I don't know if it's the softness. I don't know. But there's something in the water that's very different, and it's hard to duplicate that. And then if you do want to try and recreate the water from like Philly, what people do is they strip everything out of the water, and then they have to add stuff back into it. That's what a lot of breweries do. And it gets very expensive, and so it might not be cost effective. So for someone to open a bakery is one thing, but then they're taking the risk of maybe not getting the quality of a product they want, and then they don't have the clientele base to support them and stay in business. But it may be, again, it was probably more cost effective for that company. And where were you? Georgia? Atlanta. You know, I've never spent a lot of time in Atlanta, except flying through from the East Coast to like Arizona here. But yeah, that could be part of it. Is it cheaper? It's cheaper to fly it in than to have to deal with a vendor that's going to backlog product for you. And then also you can't get it fresh every day, right? So, I mean,
I remember being on Bourbon Street in New Orleans and walking down the area there, and there was a storefront that said fresh Philly to Amoroso rolls for your sandwiches. It's like you had to go get one.
And they were the ones that were flying it down.
Yeah.
So I know what you can get out of Philly here, though.
What?
Rita Ice.
Rita's water ice.
Oh,
yeah.
Rita's water ice, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
We ran into that dude last year, remember?
We need to call him to come back in.
We need to get him back.
Yeah, it's getting warm out, so he needs to bring some more some water ice, not Italian ice.
Water ice.
It's water ice in Philly.
Big diff.
Well, so what's the difference between water ice?
Here's the thing. When you're in Philly, you say, I'm going to get a Rita's.
Yeah, you don't even say water ice.
I'm going to get a water ice.
So where would they say water ice? Anywhere in that region, but not in Philly?
Right. So the Philly, Delaware, Jersey is Rita's.
Yeah.
And Rita's is starting to move down a little bit into Virginia. But I think that what the guy told us, there's
they have a lot of
stores
now.
They
have a lot of stores, yeah. And he's got 2 stores, right?
Yeah.
Well,
2 here in Dallas, Fort Worth area.
It's awesome. So if you've never been to Rita, if you've ever had a Rita's ice, I mean, a Rita's, just a Rita's, man, not a margaritas, a Rita's. It's flavored Italian ice. Sorry, water ice. Tom's like, dude, it's not. What are you doing?
You get a double dip and you get vanilla on the bottom and cherry on top. And then when it starts to melt down there, it's the cherry starts to get into the vanilla.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds really good right there. So those kind of things, it's like dipping your French fry in your milkshake. You've never had that?
No.
So you have hot, crispy, salty,
they don't
and
do that
sweet and cold. Whatever, dude. Man, why you gotta cheat?
So tell me more about the French fry and the milkshake. Come on.
You do, no. So really, here's one of the things chefs look for. 2 things. We either want to mimic flavors or pair flavors that are similar, right? Or we want flavors and texture and temperature that oppose each other to create a unique experience, right? So as Trey would call it, a rodeo in your mouth, right? Trey, I hope you don't mind me, using your phrase, but yeah, no, I think it's a great idea because what Guy Fieri says, taking you to Flavor Town or whatever, right? Well, same idea. But so think about that. It's really, you got that super hot French fry that just came out of the fryer. You've got this ice cold, just soft enough milkshake that you can't get it through the straw, but you could dip something in it and still stick to it. And that's the idea. So you take this really hot, just molten hot French fry. That's how it started for me. Is I wanted to eat this French fry. It was too hot, and I was nobody watching, so I dipped it in there. Yeah. So when you do that, you got cold sweet with hot crunchy salty. Dude, there's nothing better. Good. It's like when you have a molten, lava cake, right, or flourless chocolate cake, and it's got that liquid center. And if you've ever seen the movie Chef, it's like it's molten, it's not undercooked, it's molten. You got to see that movie. Have you seen? Have you seen Chef?
Probably.
It's
I don't remember.
It's the guy who he loses it on, and he goes viral anyway, and he ends up with a food truck. He loses his job, or he quits his job. You have that really hot liquid center, the warm cake, right? That's kind of spongy and soft. And then you've got, what do you have on top or next to it? Vanilla ice cream, right? Same thing. It's that hot, slightly, really decadent molten center, spongy, moist cake. Yes, I said moist. Sorry, everyone under 30. I said moist. And then, ding ding. And then you have the vanilla ice cream on the side, and it's that great. But those are both sweet, right? But one is sweet, creamy, and one is sweet, kind of rich and overly decadent. So the creamy sweet of the ice cream is kind of to tone that down. Yep. You going for Rita's?
So speaking of ding ding, somebody suggested you need a little egg timer so it can ding.
Matt keeps saying that. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if I want to deal with a turn-in an egg timer all the time.
Got to be a better way, but
yeah, maybe there's one that can just I can break it and it'll go ding ding or something. I can fix it. Anyway, we're almost out of time for the first segment here. Hey, first course has been devoured and chewed up, spat out, mulled over a little bit, and We're going to use it again tomorrow for leftovers. But
Fun as always, Chef.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Tom. You're welcome to stay if you want. Got a couple other surprises coming up this week. Let's check the food news and see if there's anything today as far as, I don't know, what special day today is. Maybe it's chicken soup or chicken pock or chicken and dumplings day. I don't know. We'll tell you in a minute.
Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter at Food Biz Pro.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0823.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
And we're back. Welcome back to Spoony Radio. Chef Patrick Mosher here, the Food Biz Pro. All right, I'm looking at comments here on Facebook. We had a couple. I had to take a picture because that thing scrolls through so fast I can't keep up with it. Let's see. Someone said, if I wanted to have just a few vinegars on hand, let's see here. Let's see. All right, Travis. Travis, yes. By the way, that hot sauce, man, that was really good. Thank you. That wasn't hot at all. That wasn't even, I don't think it was even habanero hot. That was awesome. Thanks for not killing the chef here. So he says, if I want to have just one or two vinegars on hand to make a wide variety of fruit-based vinaigrettes, what should I have? And that was something I didn't address last Friday. Great question. Champagne vinegar is one of my favorites. It's not as acidic as white vinegar. It's got a tiny bit of sweetness to it. And again, there's something about champagne and vinegars made of champagne that are that kind of go with everything, right? It's a nice, clean, easy to use, not overpowering acid base. What you may have to do, though, because it's so light, I love that. I love using that with raspberry with a little bit of honey in it. Just 3 ingredients, maybe some tarragon, or you can put some basil in there. But with that, if you but put the chopped fresh basil in after you blend it, or you'll get like a mixture of pink and green, and it looks a little, yeah. Don't do that. But if you use that, you may have to add a little extra lemon. I mean, a little extra acid in the form of lemon juice. So just letting you know. All right, Summy, you want to talk about sandwiches in Atlanta? You cannot beat Vortex. Summy, welcome back. I know you didn't win down in Florida at the what is it, I forgot which pie competition you went to. I will mention it in a little bit, but congratulations anyway. Thanks for coming back safe, and thanks for listening every day. All right, and Marie, hello. Who else we got in here? I want to see all the, well, nope, it's saying who. Do I have friends that should see this video? Share it with them so they can watch too. Hey, and if you're not watching on Facebook Live, don't forget you can find us on a couple of places. You can go to iHeartRadio. You can look up Spoony Radio there. You can listen on Spreaker later. You can go to the Spoony channel on Spreaker, and you can look up my podcast there, which is the Food Biz Pro, or just Food Biz Pro. There's no "the" in front of it. And we have several shows up there. I believe that we have the Gut Check Project. We have a couple of other ones. Oh, the Great American Pie Festival is where Summy Schick was this weekend. He goes down there every year he used to volunteer, and now he competes he has for the last several years. Let's see. You can also go to Facebook, and you can go to the Spoony Radio page there. You can go back, look at any of the videos that we've posted in the past. You can look at my live, my former live videos if you're looking at it in the past tense. And check out some of the other fun stuff we post there. As a matter of fact, Gwen Rich of The Rich Solution had her first live show this morning where they talked about essential oils. Bryn, I don't remember Bryn's last name, but she was a guest on the show today. It was very fun, very good, very interesting topic. All right, let's see what we have in food news today. And I did not check ahead of time. I used to check every day and look and see what the National Day calendar had for us in the morning. But today, all right, so today, well, this kind of makes sense. This kind of makes sense because Easter's coming up. As a matter of fact, a week from yesterday? Then today is, kind of appropriately, National Glazed Spiral Ham Day. I wouldn't have thought that we had a National Glazed Spiral Ham Day, but I guess it's the time of year. Now, I'm not a big spiral ham. I like spiral cut hams, but I'm more of a old-fashioned, smoked, salt-cured, ham that's uncut, just bone-in, big 10-pound ham, 7 at the least. And then it's fully cooked, fully smoked, fully prepared. You just heat it really slow in the oven, 175, 200 degrees, 250 maybe, let that go for hours and hours and hours. I guess 250 is probably a safe place to start. If you start too much lower, then it takes quite a while to heat through, and you don't want to have any food safety issues. But let's see who this came from. Let's see. Where did this start? It looks like 1952. Michigan entrepreneur patented not only his spiral slicer, but the ham glaze as well. Huh. Interesting. So a gentleman named Harry J. Hohenzollern. This was done in his basement. How did you come up with this spiral slicer? How does that work? I'm curious now. I want to find out how that works. Now, I wonder if they... you can't put it. I wonder if they originally put it on there like you would put a piece of wood on a lathe, like a wood lathe, and then the blade somehow ran along a track at the bottom. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find that out though. But it says yes. So he patented not just the spiral slicer, but the ham glaze as well. His innovative device made it possible for the entire bone-in ham to be sliced in one continuous and even spiral. The result was not only perfect for baking and serving, it was also a beautifully rendered main course. Then in 1957, Hohenzollern founded Honey Baked Ham. Okay, so of course it's a company which would benefit from selling spiral cut hams. Honey glazed, that makes sense. If you've ever been to the honey baked, you ever been to a Honey Baked Ham store? I didn't know they existed. I was in the Galleria area of Houston, and I drove by one, and I saw it was packed. People out the door. But I didn't realize that they have this. They make sandwiches there, and you can buy your hams there. Like if it's Christmas time, whatever time of year you want to have a ham, I suppose. Fantastic product, though. I have to say, as long as I don't have to cook it and serve it, then I'm a fan of spiral ham. I don't like the fact I think it dries out too much. That's why I like to have it all intact, not sliced so thin. Because there's nothing worse. You know how that goes. When the next day it's kind of, you need something to put on it. So, and it's not thick enough to fry or to heat up in a pan, right? It's just, it's not my favorite, but I will eat it. Today, glazed spiral hams are available from a variety of sources. So, yes, it looks like, I know they're not the only company that does spiral glazed hams. Spiral cut ham, but, So here's something. It says how to enjoy this mouthwatering Dijon honey glaze ham recipe. Ooh, let's look that one up. All right. So what's funny is the picture in this. I'm gonna have to send this out, this link, because this is supposed to be National Spiral Cut Ham Day, but the photo with the recipe that they link this to is not a spiral cut ham. Anyway, this you need a 5 to 7 pound store-bought ham, 3/4 cup of water, and you're going to start that roasting in a 300-degree oven. Pour the water in, and you're going to bake it for about 90 minutes, right? Covered. All right, so while that's roasting, then you can take about 3/4 of a cup of honey, 1/2 cup dark brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, a quarter teaspoon of ground black pepper. I'm going to tell you what this says. Heat it up in a pan till smooth, and then remove from the heat, and then baste the ham. That's pretty much what it says. Mix remaining. Yep. So that's it. It says mix in a saucepan until smooth, and heat over low heat until simmering. Remove from heat. So basically, you want to make sure that the brown sugar has all melted, and you have a nice smooth glaze to pour over the ham. It says once the ham is heated through, which is going to take at least 90 minutes on a 7-pound ham, brush the glaze over the top, cover completely, return the ham to the oven, and bake uncovered an additional 20 minutes, allowing the glaze to caramelize. I would actually baste it one more time. I think that would be good to have a little extra on there, and maybe add another 5 minutes on there. So baste it once, leave it uncovered 5 minutes, 7 minutes, pull it out, baste it one more time, and then do the remainder of the 20 minutes that you're baking uncovered. And this is really important. It talks about let the ham rest and cool a little bit before you slice it. Now, this is not a spiral cut ham. This is a standard ham. There's something really important that happens when meat has time to rest on a cutting board. The juices that you see that start to run out, like if you just take a steak right off the grill and you put it on a plate, what happens? You get this big pool of liquid, right? Well, that's because it's really hot on the outside of the steak, so water gets down to the outside, so the moisture that's left inside, and my phone is making all sorts of beeps and bells and whistles over here. The moisture wants to go where the heat is. So what happens as the outside starts to cool again, the moisture, the juice inside, right? I'm sorry, I know I said moist, but the juice inside the steak wants to start redistributing more evenly, right? Also, it's just good because when you take stuff right off the grill, even more importantly maybe than the juiciness factor, the protein is going to be very, very heat makes the protein strands tense, right? They get tight, they tighten up. So when you take it off the grill, let it rest, the steak actually relaxes. When you first take a steak off the grill, or you're touching a steak on the grill while it's still really hot and you're trying to determine temperature, it's always going to feel a little more cooked than it is. I know, who'd have thought it, but really, that's true. It's always going to feel a little more cooked than it is. So when you do that, that's why sometimes you think, oh, it feels like medium. You take it off, it's actually medium rare. Also, allowing it to rest will allow that carryover cooking. So carryover cooking, ooh, that's a really good technique. Yeah, the ham thing. I'm over the ham thing. Sorry. I need to post this though, because that's a pretty good recipe. But carryover cooking is something important. If you're cooking, say, chicken thighs, right, and drumsticks, and you cook chicken has to be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Hi, Lisa Lee. Let's see. 165 degrees is very important because that's where salmonella dies and all the other stuff, right? For all poultry, it should be 165. Grilled meats like, steak, maybe you can go a little more rare with steak, but for pork is 155, right? Because of trichinosis. And then, holding temperature is 140 and above. Chicken, though, poultry has to go to 165. But say you're a couple degrees under that, and it's been in a hot oven for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, however long, or it's on the grill, and you're 1 degree under. Well, if you're that 1 degree under, letting it rest for a minute allows for carryover cooking. So the heat that's on the outside of whatever protein you're cooking or whatever product you're cooking is going to start carrying into the center of the product. It's going to still transfer through, and it's important. Oh, hi, Marie Alex. I hope you good luck with the CBD products, all right? I wish you all the best. Again, try Ken Brown's, kbmdhealth.com. Check it out. Dr. Kenneth Brown, host of the Gut Check Project. They're here in studio every Thursday live from 9 to 11 Central. That's 10 to noon Eastern. Check out his show. It's a great show, and his product is amazing. I'm starting to sleep, so which is rare for me, or has been. All right, so that carryover cooking will allow that product to go over, the temperature of the product to rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. And if you're cooking something large like a roast beef like a big steamship round, like a big steamship roast. Those things are heavy. You can actually probably pull something off 5 or 6 degrees lower than you want it to be, because again, that carryover heating process is gonna carryover cooking is gonna heat the product and cook it more in the middle. So just something to think about. All right, so ham. Do you have a favorite ham? I love like nice Virginia hams. The what is the company? If you go to Central Market or HEB anyway, they have it's in a paper, like a brown sack that it comes in. Now the ham is still packaged inside of plastic inside that, but the salt cured hams you can buy are unbelievable, and there are very few of them left. I mean, you can hardly find them, but if you can find a salt cured ham, it's one of my favorites. Again, it's basically just very slow roasted, but the saltiness that you get, I don't like really salty food, but there are a few things: peanuts, ham, just a few other items I like heavily salted. And if you can find one at a store near you, I definitely recommend picking it up and having something like that, or a full, big, meaty bone-in ham that you can have this holiday on Easter. Nothing against Spiral Cut. I'm sorry, Honey Baked Ham Company. I'm not saying we're not going to use you. Nobody should go visit you. I'm just saying, if that's your go-to, maybe try something different. It is a little difficult to shave the meat sometimes and carve it all off, but it's worth the effort. It's got way more flavor for me. I think it's way more tender, and it just holds the moisture better. It's much more juicy, right? All right. So, what do you have with your meal on Easter? What do you have? I mean, typically what? Green beans, mashed potatoes. I mean, that's pretty much it. I wish we had more days of the year where we had stuffing. We used to always have, what's it called again? What's it called? Jell-O. You ever had Jell-O fluff? Different backgrounds, different heritage, cultural heritage have different name for it. But I love when you take Jell-O and this is actually a great use for Cool Whip. All right, because it holds better than whipped cream. But if you take Jell-O and you let it set about 3/4, a little over half, somewhere between half and 3/4 set up, it should still be pretty jiggly, and you can still drag a spoon through it a little bit. It doesn't bounce off the top. In other words, pull it back out of the refrigerator, and then you kind of whip it up. You can use a hand blender on low speed, but I just whip it up with a whisk, and then you fold the whipped cream into that. So you have little chunks of gelatin mixed in. I mean, very small pieces mixed in with the Cool Whip. And I don't know what it is about that, but that light, airy texture. And I grew up eating a lot of Jell-O, probably because it was very inexpensive. I really like that texture. I like the flavor isn't. I don't know, maybe my mother made the Jell-O too dense sometimes, but, it just it was cloying, right? The gelatin there was too much. This lightens it up a little bit, and then, and you can make it really low calorie because you could use a lighter version of the non-dairy topping. All right. Yes, I know there are chemicals in it and some of that stuff, but once in a while, it's okay. And according to Food Network, here's a good list that I was looking at earlier today. Easter dessert recipes. And according to Food Network, these are the top show-stopping Easter desserts from the Food Network stars. And the first one, oh my goodness, an Easter bunny cake. All right, I'm not one for like really kind of what do you call it? Kitschy stuff, but that's kind of cute. So they made the cake in the shape of a bunny, basically, rabbit, and then they used 2 biscotti as the ears, right? And they stood it up on the head. And the biscotti, they frosted white, and then they put some, it looks like pink. It's not frosting. They probably took pink taffy, rather, and flattened it out and put it down the center, so it has a little pink on the inside of the ears. Very cute. Alton Brown's carrot cake. This is actually one of my favorite carrot cakes. Yes, I have made this before. And I'm going to post that, but Alton Brown, if you don't understand who he is or you've never seen his show, Alton Brown is a food scientist, okay, who also is an amazing cook. So what he does is he dissects recipes in a manner that explains the science behind them, And then he also his show. I don't know if he has a show. A show is coming back. I don't know if it's back on yet or not. But Alton Brown would decipher the magic behind cooking. Why do certain things occur from a chemical standpoint? And then, if that's the case, what is the best way to prepare any product, whether it's roasting a turkey or whether it's baking a pie? What's the best crust for a pie? So the way this recipe has a lot of carrot in it, actually. So we're going to go through this real quick, and then I'll post the recipe. So you need unsalted butter for the pan, right? Just enough to wipe the inside. And yes, you should use unsalted butter because that's what he says. Butter kind of caramelizes on the outside because of the milk solids in the butter, and they have that milk solids have that bit of I guess it would be dairy sugar, right? Which is what? Lactose, right? So that caramelizes on the outside of the pan, and that's what gives you that brown crust on or that brown coloration on the outside of something baked with butter rather than pan spray. All right, so 12 ounces of all-purpose flour. It's about 2.5 cups. You have 12 ounces of grated carrots. Now, that's a lot of grated carrots. That's about 6 medium carrots. And, that's why they call it carrot cake. There's carrots in it. And if you don't like carrot cake, why? Is it a textural thing? Is it because there are carrots in it? I like carrot cake with walnuts in it. Actually, it's really good. So you grate those up on a medium grater, like on a box grater, over the medium grate. You need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice, ground cinnamon, and ground nutmeg. And if you're going to use nutmeg, grind it freshly. And also the cinnamon, too. There's no reason to not have cinnamon sticks and just grate it yourself and have a much more aromatic product. 1/2 teaspoon salt, 10 ounces sugar. It's about 1 1/3 cups. 2 ounces of dark brown sugar, which is about a 1/4 cup packed really tightly. 3 large eggs, 6 ounces of plain yogurt, and 6 ounces of vegetable oil. And then cream cheese frosting, which is pretty straightforward. You can use any cream cheese frosting you want, but you preheat the oven to 350, butter the 9-inch round, and a 3-inch deep cake pan. So you want, regular 9-inch round is typically 3 inches deep. Put the carrots into the large mixing bowl and set aside. Put the flour, also you put all the dry ingredients in, and this is interesting. He said put the flour, baking powder, baking soda, spices, and salt, so all of the dry ingredients, in the bowl of a food processor and process for 5 seconds. Okay, I thought it said 5 minutes. That's why. Well, what you want to do, you want to make sure that all of the seasoning gets distributed, throughout the cake, because there's nothing worse than a big bite. You ever had that big bite of baking soda or baking powder in the middle of a cake or a cupcake or another dessert? It's disastrous. I mean, that one little bite, that one little pea-sized lump can ruin the entire dessert. So you pulse it in there, and then what you do is you want to add the mixture to the carrots and toss the carrots until they're well coated with the flour. Then in the food processor, you take the sugar, brown sugar, eggs, and yogurt and combine them and mix it in. And then with it still running, you drizzle in the vegetable oil. Now, part of this is because vegetable oil doesn't like to incorporate. You have oil, you have other fat, which is the yogurt, which actually it's probably low-fat yogurt, so any kind of plain yogurt. But you really want to incorporate the oil well into the wet part of this mixture because, again, oil doesn't like to incorporate. And if you can do this where you can take the other ingredients and blend the oil in like you would make a dressing, then it's much better. Now, if there were certain ingredients in this, like if the flour were already into this mixture, you wouldn't want to do this because now you have flour, the glutinous part of this that's going to bind everything together. And you have now liquid in there. And what you're going to do is you're going to start creating long strands of gluten, right? So it's going to be a tough mixture. So as long as there's no liquid or there's no flour and liquid mixed, you can always put it in the blender and mix it or into a food processor. All right. So after you do that, then you pour the prepared cake pan, you pour the batter into the prepared cake pan and put it in the middle rack of the oven, right? You don't want this is one that will cook through pretty evenly. So you want it right in the middle of the oven. Reduce the temp to 350 in the oven and bake it for about, let's see, Oh, I'm sorry. So you bake it the first 45 minutes in the middle rack, and then you reduce the heat to 325 and bake for another 20 minutes, or until the cake reaches 205 to 200. Okay, Alton Brown is such a food scientist and such a perfectionist on creating the ultimate recipe and the perfect, flavor, texture, product, the flakiness, the density. Everything's got to be perfect. So it says, reduce the heat to 325 and bake for another 20 minutes or until the cake reaches 205 to 210 degrees Fahrenheit in the center. Remove the pan from the oven and allow to cool for about 15 minutes in the pan. After 15 minutes, turn the cake out onto a rack and allow to cool completely, and then you frost. That's actually really, really delicious. Cream cheese frosting is just like 8 ounces of cream cheese, 2 ounces of unsalted butter, a teaspoon of vanilla, about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, depending on how much you like. You go anywhere from a half a teaspoon to 1 1/4, and about 9 ounces of powdered sugar. And you want to sift that. That's about 2 cups. And the reason you want to sift that is you want it to, use powdered sugar because you want something as fine a granule as possible to blend into the cream cheese. And then you're just going to mix that in like a stand mixer, right? A countertop mixer, not in the food processor. Okay, because that's going to incorporate too much air, and it's going to become super light and fluffy, and it's not going to be the texture and density that you want for frosting. Now, if you let that actually sit in the refrigerator after mixing for about I don't know. Well, you're mixing this. You want to soften the cream cheese. Actually, here's a good thing: when you make frosting and you're using cream cheese, or you're going to put cream cheese in any kind of a baked product, let it soften to almost room temperature on the counter first, or at least for 20 minutes. And then mix it in, because when you try to mix this in a stand mixer, then the cream cheese is really dense and it's hard, and it's gonna be problems, right? It doesn't want to break up, it doesn't want to smooth it out, and you'll get these little lumps of cream cheese in whatever you're making. So if you let that sit for a while, you can actually throw it in the bowl of the mixer and let it set there after you take it out of the wrapper. Once it's ready, then you don't want to put all the powdered sugar in at once either. You want to put it in like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 little, additions, and that way it'll mix more evenly into the cream cheese. So key is here, when it's done, you want to let that sit for 5 or 10 minutes in the refrigerator just to set up a little bit, and then you can frost your cake. It should give you about 2 cups. All right, so I'm going to post that one as well. That's actually one of my favorite recipes. I've made that several times. Yeah, Alton Brown. If you've never seen any of his shows, you really ought to catch them. He does one on roasting turkey. I think he actually roasts turkey. They make it in oven, which I've done at Boy Scout camp before. But he makes an oven out of a box, an actual cardboard box, where they line it with tinfoil, and it's kind of fun. Oh, Travis Watson, that's what I love about Alton. Instead of just recipes, you get knowledge that can be applied to your own recipes. And thanks for you're welcome for the vinegar tip. Oh, look, and so good. I'm glad that you ordered the CBDs from Dr. Brown, by the way. Great product. And remember, Alex says she likes asparagus with her ham and other accoutrements for Easter. Ham is not. Again, I like the big bone-in, ham shoulders. Those are really good. It's not my favorite meat for a holiday. It's not my favorite to eat by itself, right? I love it in soups, though, which is one of the reasons that I like the big bone-in hams that are uncut, the unspiral cut, not spiral cut hams, because there's a lot of meat left on the bone. And so when you put it in a stock pot later and you're going to make, say, split pea soup, and yes, I know, yes, I love split pea soup. If you don't, that's up to you. But I love split pea soup, but you can put it in anything. Just that, making a stock from that you're going to make like a vegetable soup from later it's so rich. It adds a richness you don't necessarily get from beef or chicken a lot of times. It's a very unique flavor, and there's a lot of gelatin in that. So when you simmer that at a low temperature, you're drawing all that gelatin out. And I don't know if you've noticed, but when you use bones and make a bone broth or a stock, there's a richness that can come from that pork. It's awesome. Anyway, all right, so down to a minute and a half. Jeez. All right, I'm going to get a couple things posted here. Post both of those I just spoke about, both the what was it? The Dijon mustard glaze, and then the carrot cake recipe from Alton Brown. We'll talk a few more recipes. At the bottom of this next hour, though, my sister Karen Mosher Carey is going to be on. She's a life coach. She and her husband, Kevin Carey. She had a corporate speaking event recently at a regional manufacturer and distributor of some very interesting products in the Northeast. Beech Nut is the name of the company. We're going to talk about them and, maybe something we have, a collaboration we have coming up in the next week or two or three. Maybe next week. Who knows? But we'll talk about that and some of the great iconic restaurants in that area of New York. Oh, and how perception is not often reality. And I'll tell a story about that, about one of my friends, Jim Durham, who is a great sportscaster, and one of the people who served him every day, where he went and bought his cup of coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning, and their perception of him and why. Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun stuff. Anyway, this is Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Again, tips and tricks of the trade. You know what? We're going to go to break. Let's just go to break. Y'all come back on the other side. I'm going to have a little more coffee. I know it's not decaf. Yes, I'm a little lamped up today. Come back. We're going to talk more food.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Firefighters are battling a massive blaze at the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Flames and black smoke are shooting from the base of the medieval church's spire. The over 800-year-old church undergoing a renovation project. French media say the fire could be linked to this. Attorney General William Barr will release a redacted version of the 400-page Mueller report this Thursday.
The Justice Department has announced it'll release the report to both Congress and the public on Thursday morning. We don't yet know the extent of the redactions, but Barr has said he'll excise material dealing with grand jury proceedings, ongoing investigations, or sensitive intelligence information. In his 4-page summary, Barr said that Mueller found no evidence of collusion and reached no conclusion on obstruction, but that he and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein found insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges.
Correspondent Wally Hines reporting. The National Weather Service says more than a dozen tornadoes have been confirmed in the south after a weekend of violent weather. It left at least 8 people dead. The system moved eastward into Mississippi, where the Weather Service says teams have confirmed at least 8 tornadoes. At least 3 weak tornadoes struck Alabama on Sunday. Those numbers could go up because teams are still out assessing damage. Also at townhall.com, it's tax day. And Heritage Foundation economist Romina Baccia tells the Salem Radio Network taxes being paid by Americans continues to be misspent in Washington.
Even though we saw record high tax revenues, and in dollar terms, the federal government spent much more than it collected in taxes, the difference being almost $800 billion.
And unless you have an extension, you have until midnight to file your return. On Wall Street, stocks have been lower. The Dow is off 20 points. More of these stories at townhall.com.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A, thrive.com.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called RiduZone, RIDU Zone.com, RIDU Zone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDU zone.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
You know, somebody told me the other day they like when I sit here and I'm kind of jamming to the music. I can't help it. I hear music, I got to move. It's just, I may not have, I have rhythm. I can keep a beat. I even have perfect pitch. I can sing high C every time. Get your tuner out. I guarantee I can hit it every time. But it doesn't mean I can dance. So, unfortunately, I just love, I have to say, producer Ron did a good job picking that track out. I didn't have anything to do with it, but thank you. All right. So, I did actually post a recipe that I said I was going to post. Look at that. It is a new day, folks. Things are turning around. Did I get that shared to my page? I didn't get it shared to my page today. Oh, well. Anyway, it is what it is. All right. A few more recipes for Easter dessert. A few more ideas. Hot cross buns. Okay, yeah. These look like they have raisins in them. I can't do that. No, not a big raisin in my bun fan. Dun, 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 dun. Ding, ding, need a bell. Strawberry bunnies and... No, can't do that one either. Although, what is this? This looks like a log, like a chocolate log. You make what's it called? Not bouche Noel. There's a cake that they make traditionally, like a Christmas cake that they make in France, and it's like a Yule log. That's what we call it. And you roll a sponge cake, like a chocolate sponge cake or whatever flavor sponge cake you want, kind of like a pumpkin roll, right? And you spread your filling inside, whether it's a whipped cream based or a cream, another cream cheese. Or possibly, what's the frosting you put on it? Buttercream based frosting. And you roll that up and you make it look like a log. You actually take another then smaller piece of cake and you roll it up and you can stick it into the side of it at an angle, a 45-degree angle. It looks like a little branch that was broken off. And then you frost the whole thing and you put little swirls in it, et cetera, et cetera. It's actually pretty darn good. This kind of looks like they did that, but I don't know, strawberries, bunnies, and carrots cake. Nah. All right. Oh, mini egg cupcakes. So what they did here, I see how cute. They made cupcakes. They made the mini muffin. They made them in like the mini muffin tins with a little cupcake holder. And then they took the paper off when they were done. And they're serving them in a little egg carton. That's like a half dozen egg carton. And I'm going to actually blow this up a little bit. So if you are watching, this gives you an idea of what we're looking at here. All right, let me see. So you can see. All right. Yeah, so you can see they actually, it's really cool, right? It's very cute. Now, here's the problem with that. And this is where some home projects can become a fail, which I'm surprised. This is probably done by one of the celebrity chefs or maybe one of the recipe developers at Food Network. Unless you buy an egg carton like this that's never been used, you now run the risk of giving somebody salmonella. And why is that? Because salmonella lives on the skin of chickens. It doesn't live inside the egg, and that's why most people that get sick from salmonella, it's not from eating the product. It's from you or someone else touching the product, having the bacteria on your hands, right, or whatever. Okay. The cause of the illness on your hands, right? This is what happens. You take an egg from the container, you break the egg into the pan, you throw said eggshell away, you wash your right hand with soap or whatever, or just water. Now, when you go to close the lid, you touch some of the eggs with your other hand, but you didn't break the egg, so you think it's safe. The problem is the salmonella is on the outside of the egg because it's on the skin of chicken. So when the chicken passes the egg, it touches the skin and therefore can have salmonella on it. Now, most eggs are washed in a solution that would hopefully help prevent this, right? But Doesn't always mean that's the case. And now you have it on your hands. So now you're using an egg carton, say if it had been used and there had been an egg that had been infected, you're now putting a cupcake unprotected in there with no little paper holder. And even if it did have the paper holder, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't do it. It's really cute, but I don't think, I don't think there's a way to buy I guess I guess you can buy the little egg crates, right? The little egg cartons. But would you go and buy egg cartons for Easter? I don't know. Anyway. Hummingbird cupcakes. I'm not sure why they're called that. They look like they're pretty, it's a banana and pineapple hummingbird cake. Oh, this is kind of cool, though. So this is neat. They took a dessert, just a standard cupcake with a cream cheese frosting on top. So this would be good. You could make like a banana nut bread cupcake. Make banana nut bread or banana bread, and then pour them in the cupcake mold, bake them. And after they're done, put your cream cheese frosting on. But they had a really cool garnish idea on this, which is good because it plays with the flavor inside in the cupcake, right? They took little rounds, basically cross-cut of a banana. Right? They just sliced it up, but they bruleed them. So they took sugar and sprinkled it on top. And then they took a blowtorch or, soldering torch. They actually make creme brulee torches. You can buy them. They're fairly expensive at places like, we'll just say those fancy food stores and or food item stores, foodware stores. I don't know. What do you call that? What's that called? Is it a kitchen lifestyle store? Is that what those things are called? Well, then Bed Bath & Beyond, I think, is going. I think they're going belly up. I think all their stores are closing next month. Hey, could be a good time to get some discounts, right? Bed Bath & Beyond for all of your kitchen needs for the next month. Check it out. I'm going to have to look and see. But anyway, you torch the sugar on top of the banana, and it caramelizes. It's like, you get that little crunchy brulee on top, like you get with a creme brulee, the burned sugar. And then they put one of those on top of each cupcake. That's actually kind of nice. I like that. All right, we'll do one more here, and then we'll move on. Carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. We already did a carrot cake. Oh, chocolate pastel Easter egg with chocolate vermicelli nest. It's cute, but that's a lot of work to goof around with on Easter. Now, this is kind of neat. What they did is they took a bundt cake, right? And they made the cake, and I'm not sure how they frosted this, but this is kind of cool. I want to see how they did this. They obviously frosted the cake, but then they took something on the outside. It looks like shredded chocolate, and I want to figure out how they did that. But then they filled the inside of the cake with probably a cream cheese filling, right? So there's no hole, in the middle of the cake, as a bundt cake would normally have, hence the bundt cake. And then so they frost it, and then they have these shavings. Are these chocolate shavings? Let's see, for the frosting, for the topping. All right, so, really? They used shredded wheat biscuits, shredded wheat, the big ones, unsalted butter, sugar, milk chocolate, and then the candy. Oh, that's really cool. So I'm gonna post this, but the way that they made this look, they made it look like it almost looks like the bark of a tree or like moss, like tree moss. And that would be interesting because I like the large size biscuits that they make for shredded wheat, instead of the small ones. Interesting. I've never seen. That's very cool. This I'm going to post, but here's a picture of it. If you can see it, very, very cool. That's kind of cool. So they just filled the middle of that again with frosting or something else. Filled the cake, frosted it, and then put that mixture on the outside that makes it look like it's a really nest, and then they put the malted eggs in the middle, which are, by the way, if you are going to send Easter candy, the little malted eggs are the best, the little robin's eggs. Yeah. Not the candied eggs that have the kind of weird, thick, sugary marshmallow type filling with a super thick, just uber sweet candy shell on the outside. Not that one. That's kind of like an overgrown jelly bean that's gone wrong because A, there's no jelly filling in it, and B, it's too sweet. It's too sweet for me. So yes, I ate tons of those as a kid, and so I had cavities when I was a kid. I'm going to post that. That's a really cool one. Chocolate malt nest cake. All right, so My sister and I are going to talk today about several things. All right. I think I shared the number with her, so she'll be ready to call in. We talk all the time about hospitality versus service, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I love the way that my sister is able to elicit information from people. Now, I talk about coaching. I've talked about coaching, mentoring, consulting, right, before. But I always thought the trick to consulting and even oftentimes just teaching or mentoring someone was to tell people, have the right information, the correct information to share with people, to tell people so that you could explain them, right? You could teach them. But really, that's not the case. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But a lot of times it's just knowing the questions to ask to elicit the information you need to get and to draw them to a conclusion. She's very good at this. And it's not some magic science. It is a science, right? But anyway, it's very interesting. And we're going to start doing, we've talked in the past about doing a show. I'll see if I can get her to commit today. But we grew up in a little town in upstate New York called Corinth. If you live there, it's actually Corinth, Corinth, New York, right on the Hudson River. And it was a really interesting place to go up. It really was. Almost everybody's family worked in the local paper mill. It's International Paper Mill. It was actually the oldest mill in operation in North America until it shut down about 15 years ago, maybe. I'm not positive, but it was a while back. There are several other big mills in the area. Just a very interesting, very historic place. Saratoga, which is where she lives now, which I always claimed to be my hometown, but actually it's not. It's about 15, 20 miles from where I grew up. Saratoga is a very historical place, and they have some very, very interesting springs there. These springs are we call them, they're just mineral springs. But the water that comes from there is called Vichy water. Vichy water, actually, if you go to the park in Saratoga, they have all these kind of well springs that well heads that they put up where you can go and bottle your water and then take it home. But if you've ever been in the Northeast and you try the water, you'll find it, and it comes in blue bottles, and it's Vichy, Vichy water. Now, I'm going to get lots of comments on this, I guess, but have you ever had that you think, oh, that sounds really good? Sounds really good. Somebody goes, you make it sound like Sam and Ella. Salmonella? That's funny. Yeah, Sam and Ella. Yeah, so you don't get Sam and Ella. Don't touch the eggs and not wash your hands, or you'll get Sam and Ella. Salmonella. That's funny. But Vichy water, you see this beautiful blue bottle, and you're like, man, that looks like really good mineral water. I should try that. Well, if you've ever had it, then it's very, very strong with minerals, right? But the kicker is it has not so much in the bottle, but if you go to the park and you take it right out of the well, right out of those springs, then it's got this very aromatic feature about it. And it's actually, it's very sulfuric, right? It's got this really sulfuric smell to it. So it smells rotten. I mean, it can smell like rotten eggs. It can smell like sulfur. It just depends on the person's sensitivity to the smell, the aroma. Now, I grew up drinking that, but I like it a lot. But I would have friends come visit me, and first thing I wanted to do is, hey, let's go try the Vichy water. Come on, you got to try this. It's the best thing. And they'd be like, ooh, no, I can't do that. That smells. I love it though. I don't know. And since I think I've been talking about this for a couple of days. Yeah, I think I started talking about it yesterday or the day before. I miss that water, and I don't know why. I don't know if there's a mineral deficiency in me right now and I'm craving Vichy water, if I'm homesick. Maybe I've just been thinking about talking to my sister. I don't know. But in any case, is there something that's unique to your region? Think about it. It's something unique to your region that might not be enjoyed by everyone that you know. It's an acquired taste. It's only regionally acceptable. I don't know. Curious. But Vichy water is one thing that stands out in my mind, right? And then like the little fried, what well, you know, we have all these oddities from Japan and other cultures. I get that. Those things don't necessarily stand up to the taste test when it comes to the American palate. But head sausage, like in upstate New York, right? They call it head sausage. It's actually, it's the meat from various parts of the neck and other scrap pieces of meat, and sometimes the tongue is chopped up. But anyway, when you had wild game or you had a head of cattle that you harvested and butchered, then you would take those other scraps of meat and you would make you'd make this. It's kind of like meat and gelatin almost. It's not really a sausage, but yeah. So you'd use the scraps up, but outside of the people who actually make it nowadays, or their families are, hunters, farmers, it's kind of not peasant food, it's country food, right? But outside of that, it's not like you go to New York and you see it on a menu in the city, right? You don't go to Manhattan, go to Talia, or go to, where else would you go? The Cirque's closed. Not like you go to Morimoto or Nobu or, any of those other really fancy, Japanese restaurants wouldn't have it anyway, but the point is, you won't find that on a menu there, typically. But, it might be considered a delicacy where you are. Vichy water is very, very highly prized. As a matter of fact, they have a big fountain that you can walk up to, and people take their own containers, and you fill them up and take them home, right? I don't remember how much they allow you, but a lot of people go, and daily or weekly or however often they need it, they go and they fill them up and they take their allotted amount home. I don't think they really count how much you're filling up because it's running continuously, but it's just such a regional thing. I don't know. I got off on a really interesting tangent, but I don't know. I wonder if that's just my childhood. So what about you? Was there something that you ate in your childhood you don't think would be acceptable palatably or palatable to other people, maybe in another region? Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, food news. There was something I saw. Hey, I actually, Beth Knott, one of our partners, she is the, all right, I'm going to throw a little pitch at you out there. Juvenile diabetes is a big deal. If you can find the local chapter of your Juvenile Diabetes Association, the research JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. If you can find your local chapter, please donate, support the cause. Beth is one of the partners here, and she is she's had a fundraising for the local chapter here in Fort Worth, and they're doing their annual auction. So one of the things I put together for them was a home, a party for four, a home sushi class. So hopefully that'll raise some money, but I will go to someone's home and do a live class for up to four people, and it should be a great time. But it just made me think. I was just looking up some sushi class stuff, some of the stuff I'd done in the past, and I had the page open. JDRF is the organization. Probably look up jdrf.org or just Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Find a local chapter and donate. For those of you that don't know, it wasn't juvenile diabetes, but my mother did pass in a diabetic coma. And diabetes is a big thing that we're facing today in the society. A lot of it's diet-based. Some of it's just genetics. But anyway, juvenile diabetes is a very tragic thing for families and to deal with, especially if they end up losing a child. There's actually a guy I went to high school with, Mike Durbis. Mike didn't know he had type 1 diabetes and wrestled all through high school. I don't know at what age, but apparently they found out. And by then his lungs had burned out and he actually went blind. He's blind. He had a double lung transplant and he's doing quite well. Pretty cool cat. Still lives in the certain area of Arizona where I used to live. But yeah, it's a tough thing for people to face. So jdrf.org, I'm sure that's what it is. Look it up, support them. Thank you very much. And if you can donate, there's probably a fundraising campaign across the country this week. So if you can donate, please help out. All right. So, calling Onophiles. Do you own a fridge, a wine fridge? I don't own a wine fridge. I've never owned a wine fridge. Never thought about it. But what's important when you buy one? Do you have a wine fridge? Do you store your wine in a fridge or just in your regular refrigerator? How big of one do you need? Well, it depends on how much wine you drink. Do you drink mostly white, mostly red? Does it have different temperature zones? A lot of them have, like, it'll be colder on the bottom, cooler on the top, so you can split your reds and whites. They'll have a little divider in there that actually you can control the temperature separately, or do you just need a really less expensive one? So the first thing is you want to have one important thing when storing your wine is you want it to be able to you have to be able to set one part at 45 and another part at 55. It really is. If you're going to put your reds in the refrigerator, they go at 55, the whites at 45. That's the biggest thing. Size is just it's just about how much wine you want to keep on hand at any given time. Yeah, no, not that interesting. All right, let's see. Breaking news. No. Redditor. Oh, here we go. Breaking news. Okay, this is kind of stupid. Redditor discovers airport food is expensive. And since this is the Daily Mail, you now have no doubt. Okay. How could someone not know that airport food is expensive? And why is it so expensive? Why would airport food be so expensive? Well, there's a couple of reasons. A, the rent in airports has got to be exorbitant. I cannot imagine what they charge one little Hudson News little shop. I can't imagine what they charge them rent every month. Say you have what are those things, 20 by 20, so 400 square foot store? I can't imagine. It's got to be in it 10, 20, 30, I don't know, 30,000 more, 40,000. Okay, but you're pretty much guaranteed, not necessarily, but you're pretty much guaranteed a captive audience. So if you have a quality product and or something that's needed by everyone, a necessity, then you're almost guaranteed a large enough purchasing, population that you'll succeed. So it's twofold. A, the cost of doing business is really high, and B, you can charge more and get away with it because people have to eat. And even in airports, as crappy as the food is and expensive as it is a lot of times, you have to eat. There are some really good restaurants though that I've seen in airports. If you go to Baltimore Airport, there is a Phillips Crab. The company Phillips Crab. They do little cans of crab meat. They have a really great restaurant there that serves crab cakes and a crab cake sandwich, and they do steamer legs. Very good. And they have this little U-shaped little bar there. So the front side is a display we call it a knee knocker in the the grocery store industry. That knee knocker is filled with a water bottle, just grab and go stuff. But then you sit down at the bar. There are a couple of there are a couple tables, a couple of high chairs that set up at a bar, but it's really neat. You can go in there. It's very quick service. The food is excellent. It's very reasonable. Let's see, Cat Cora. I forgot the name of the restaurant, but if you go to Houston to Intercontinental Airport, Cat Cora, who was one of the Iron Chefs, fantastic chef, she has a restaurant there that was very, very good. If you're in Chicago O'Hare, I think there's a restaurant there by Rick Bayless. Rick Bayless he does wonderful regional, authentic Mexican cooking that's unbelievable, by the way. Unbelievable. Matter of fact, he has a new restaurant that opened up, 2 years ago, I think, on West Randolph, outside of downtown Chicago, just across the West Loop there. It's unbelievable. It is what is the name of his new restaurant there? There are two right next together. One is like a Mexican cantina that's open for lunch and dinner, and they have really authentic, street food style Mexican dishes. But they have this tequila bar that's awesome. A tequila bar, and then they have several local beers on tap. Very, very, very fun restaurant. But what are those names of those? The other one though was fantastic. It's dinner only, and it's Bayless newest restaurant on Randolph. And if you know Randolph Street in Chicago, that's where there are a bunch. Leña Brava is the name. Leña Brava, fantastic. It's awesome. And right next to that is the Cruz Blanca Brewery in Taqueria. So right next door. Man, check that out if you're in town. Chicago is one of my favorite food towns. Chi-Town, Chicagoland, whatever you want to call it. Speaking of Chicago, tune in Fridays for Mixed Metaphors. That's right. What are we drinking Friday? What are we drinking Saturday? Brought to us by Cheryl, Rich Heisler, She custom designs drinks for us every week. We post up. Matter of fact, I'm going to start coming up with dishes like as we did last Friday on the last half hour of the show to pair with her wonderful creations, libations, her mixologist creations. And with that, I think we're going to have Rob Jones call in, and he's going to, give us what cigar we could pair with that and see if we can give it a go like we did last week. It was really fun. Anyway, a few seconds. We're going to break here. 2-minute short break. My sister Karen Carey is going to be on the phone. Should be a very interesting conversation and enlightening for all of us, I'm sure. I just hope I don't embarrass myself. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter at Food Biz Pro.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
Funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone. RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com. RIDUzone.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
And there we go. Got on mute mic. We're back live right here on Spoony Radio. Chef Patrick Mosher. I don't know if we're talking food and fun or Easter tips and tricks, but I just posted that second delicious recipe. No, that's the wrong one. Oop, wrong one. Wrong one, Patrick. We don't want that one. We want that delicious chocolate. Yeah, right here. Chocolate malt nest cake. That looks delicious. So, again, if you're going to send Easter candy, I really like little malted robin's eggs, all right? Not the really big eggs that are all sugar on the inside and the outside. Just too sweet for my taste. Thank you. All right. I need to take that photo off. Yeah, the bunny cake was cute, but not that cute. All right. And my sister Karen should be calling in any moment. She is a life coach. My sister, even more importantly. And she's just a general all-around good cookie. She's very fun to be around. She actually was probably very influential in introducing me to great food and the hospitality industry in general. So we'll have her on in just a moment. And what else do we have today? Let's see. Some more food news. Nah. Nope, not that one. What do we have today? Oh, you know what I did see? I don't know. Hey, I don't know if there's an update yet, but if you haven't seen, if you've ever been to Notre Dame in Paris, the church has been on fire for the last, I think, hour or two. Unfortunately, there was some sort of a spark or some fire ignited during some renovations, and just pray, keep them in your prayers. Look, that's a great, iconic structure, historical structure. It's beautiful if you've never been there. Yeah, well, hopefully the whole church won't be lost. So. Australian McDonald's kiosk hack gets you one free hamburger. Huh. No, that's fine. Nope, that's fine. No, we know airport food is expensive. Oh, you know what? There are a couple other really great restaurants. Let's see. Okay, this is not a restaurant, and this is not at an airport. But when you think of transportation, there is in New York City at Grand Central Station. There's an oyster bar there, and it is fantastic. Yes, the Grand Central Oyster Bar. It has been there since 1913 in continuous operation, and it is pretty fantastic. And no, they don't just have oysters. They actually have a dessert case in the front where you can order some pastries. Oh, and my sister's on the phone. I kept her waiting for over a minute. Oh, I will answer. But yes, if you go to New York City, there's the Grand Central Oyster Bar, and then upstairs there's actually a little bar / coffee shop that's fantastic. It's a little open air kind of place that overlooks the big Central Market entryway, or Central Market, Grand Central Station entry into the ticketing area of the station. It's beautiful. It's a nice place to take in the hustle and bustle of New York City, but not have to be a part of it. So now that I kept her on hold, I will see Karen. Are you there?
Not the first time, right?
Well, hey, at least I didn't keep you hold. At least I told you to call in at 32 so that you weren't on hold for the whole break for an extra couple of minutes. But
Just kidding. I'm fine.
For everyone who doesn't know, this is my sister Karen Carey. I'm sure Kevin is in the room with you. Kevin, how are you?
He's not here.
He's not there? Oh, well, okay. Did you leave him at physical therapy and just hightail it back?
Yeah, he'll be on next time.
That's fine. So, Karen is, of course, my sister, and is it still Ruby Red Road? Is that the rubyredroad.com?
Yes, it is currently.
Okay,
it's always been. I'm going yes.
So, is that going to change to the two words you brought up earlier today?
Possibly, yes.
Okay,
we're
all
in
right.
conversation about that.
Gotcha. All right. So, I don't know if I'm on my speaker. That's okay. It's just a little bit. That's fine right there. That's fine. It's just, I don't know if I was a little far away from the mic or if you were a little far away from the mic. But so you had a really
Is that better?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah. So Karen, you called me a couple weeks ago with some ideas for some segments, right? Because you're always thinking, well, in a great way. You're always like, how can I help not just me, but other people, with ideas, and you're not trying to. Again, we spoke about this earlier about not trying to fix people. I'm still trying to get over that one, but but just offer people, hey, here's an idea. What if you tried this? Because we've spoken. My show doesn't have a very specific structure, right? There's not a set format that I use every day. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little short on time as far as show prep goes because just doing so many other things and working on the weekends and travel on the weekends and stuff. You're going to work with me on two things: structure, right? But first and foremost, forget that. We're throwing that aside today. I really want to know.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Beech Nut Company, right? Because you did a little seminar for Beech Nut, right? And
yes, I did.
Okay, and Beech Nut is a company which is located. Are they located right there near Saratoga?
Yes, they are. They're in Amsterdam.
Okay. Now, you know what?
Far.
Is that the plant where Gary worked? Yeah, he did, I think. No. He was with Gerber. I'm sorry. Wrong one. Sorry. But so Beech Nut is one of the it's well, no, somebody else is putting a plant in there, a new one, and our brother Gary was up there, and he ran Gary's a millwright / whatever, he does it all mechanically, but he ran their boiler room. Like, he runs the boiler rooms, he monitors all the equipment, maintains all that high-tech fancy stuff that they have, and does the physical repairs when necessary, tells someone else how to do it and gets them to do it. But
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was his might have been. I don't know. There's one in Malta that have another. I could be confused because I had a friend in Houston. He was up in Malta, and one of these big manufacturing plants, which it could have been Gerber or Beech Nut.
Right.
They're putting in a new one, and he does like high power, like really high power line stuff, where it comes in and he steps all that down so it's usable electricity, and that stuff scares me. So I didn't even want to listen to what he had to say. So I could be just mixing up all the stories, but I think it was a different one, because Gary was going north towards Schenectady where he was working. So Beech Nut is a baby food company, right? They have really, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they have other product lines, or is it not mostly predominantly baby food?
Yeah, it's baby food, snacks, baby food, that kind of stuff. So it's all geared around children.
Okay. Okay. And so is there a particular product that people might be familiar with? Now, they're regional, right? For the most part.
They're regional and expanding. Actually, they're expanding in the country. So they are growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And I know that they're part of a group that's actually headquartered. They're headquartered in New York, but they're actually part of a larger brand. It's a Swiss brand, but they operate independently for the most part. Yes. They have their own product line.
Yeah.
So you did a seminar, and you've done a lot of talks before, but this is a little bit different. And can you explain to me what this class was actually?
Well, so they were looking for. They were doing 3 days of teaching and training and sales and gathering together as a team, and they just wanted a different voice for an hour. 90 minutes I spent with them. And they were I have to say, they were the best team I've ever worked with.
That's cool.
They were engaged and smart, and they asked great questions, and they were just a really good people. I got to have a little dinner with them later. They're just really good people. So it was really fun and awesome.
Well, you know, that's there's nothing better than having a client that's engaged.
Exactly.
You know,
no kidding.
yeah. So, you know, we can talk about that. We talked about, you know, before doing free work. You know, it never works out well when you start working for free for people. It starts out as a one-time deal, and then they're cash strapped, but they never take action. Hardly ever, when there's nothing at risk, will the client take action. It's there's no way to hold them accountable either, because there's nothing at risk.
Well, and even sometimes when they are paying, it's very challenging to change. Change is one of the hardest things we have. I mean, there's lots of things we could say about that, but that would be a whole nother show, you know. But change is just incredibly challenging for everyone. It's uncomfortable.
It is. It really is. So, yeah, change. It's the only constant, but it's so funny because we're all afraid of it.
Right. Exactly. Well, we're not afraid of it. It's our brain. It's not even our fault. We don't know we're afraid of it.
You know, that's so, you know,
what I mean?
No, I do.
Brain science.
I do. So, yeah, because, you know, I really learned about this. I mean, you were trying to teach me all this 20 years ago, but until I really listened to David Nagel, you know, use this one thing that's until the fear of staying in your current situation is greater than the fear of change, nothing happens, right? Unless you're motivated, you recognize it, and you take action anyway. But that's why we try to grow, and we work on ourselves, and we read so many books, right? And hopefully put that information to use. So there were a couple of things that came out of this, and one of them I think surprised you, because at the end of this 90 minutes, you asked each individual, and there were 20 or 25 individuals in the room?
There were about 25-ish. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually count, but it was around 25.
Yeah.
And yes. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You can go ahead and so you ask a final question typically.
Yeah, and I think it's important for everyone to know. It's a way for people to know what they've gotten out of a program. So, or whether it's a private client or a group, what was most valuable for you today? And so, one of the surprising and most thoughtful answers. They were all amazing. Like I said, they were thoughtful, and there were a few different things. But one of them was slow down so that you can speed up. This is my thing. Like, slow down so you can speed up. Be more reflective. Take time. It's amazing how much difference that can make in a day.
Sounds like that message was directed at me, kind of, doesn't it? He laughs nervously as he breathes into the microphone, listening to his sister also laughing on the other end of the call. Sounds like the 8th chapter of a 20-chapter book on self-help. But that's true. And you said that specifically, and it was very, it struck me. It struck me deeply. It struck a deep chord, and here's why. Most chefs, we're hardwired to go fast all the time, right? There's a million things. There are a million things to do. Our linguistic programming is typically not negative, but also not positive, with maybe a little bit of negative connotation to it. So instead of saying, and pardon my word, I got all this stuff to do today, the other S word, instead of, I have a lot to accomplish today, I need to run. Right. So, hey, it's like, don't bother me. I got a lot of crap to do today. So that, and what happens is we keep ourselves in that rut, I feel like, because again, we don't take the time to sit back, reflect, properly plan, and ultimately know exactly where we're going. Right. It's granted, massive action. That's another thing that I like from Dave Nagel's. Massive action trumps planning every time, which I agree with. But the thing is, massive action without some sort of direction leads to nowhere. Right? There's no roadmap.
Yeah.
So, oh, you know what? I'm going to write that one down. I got to write that down.
Yeah, that doesn't completely resonate with me, the massive action. If you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else,
Well, I mean, so the massive action part is what he refers to there. Yeah. Like just start taking steps, at least to learning about what you're going to do. And, because some people, we have to admit, a lot of people sit around and plan and plan and plan and plan and plan, and they never take step one. And you were stuck in that. You were stuck in that for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, and that wasn't step one for you. Well, you told me, remember you said it's just like you couldn't get the product where you wanted it to be, right? Your service, what you want to share. And it just kind of, you were going around and around, and like you kept refining and refining and refining. And I was doing the same thing kind of at the same time. And so, he said, just take steps at least. Now, of course, you want some sort of rough roadmap of where you want to go and the service you want to provide or the product you want to sell or the restaurant you want to design and build. But, ultimately take steps. All right.
Yes.
Totally agree.
All right. So that really resonated with me. And then I thought you had mentioned something else about customer service. All right. And so give me your take on today's current culture of service culture.
Imagine how I feel about it, right? Because of my history around customer service and how when I had my salon and spa, like we were all about having an extraordinary experience from beginning to end, right? Mm-hmm. And it sounds silly, a salon, who cares? But I'm telling you, there was something magic about it. And my perception these days is great customer service is a rarity. And I don't think it's anyone's fault. Again, I think people just don't know what it is anymore. Just common sense stuff, actually have a smile on your face, actually say hello, actually notice when someone is, having a situation, have more situational awareness, stop talking to each other and talk to the people that are coming in to your establishment. And, there's a number, I could go on and on, right? But
no, so that's a great point. And, I'd like to get some of the listeners' ideas on this. Beyond customer service, right? Beyond customer service is hospitality. We are in the hospitality industry, whether it's food and beverage or hotels or, not every retail store is hospitality, but hospitality is a little different because you can get service. You can get service from an ATM. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it. You can get. You knew I was going to say this. You can get from a vending machine, but you can't get hospitality. And part of that means situational awareness and being present, keeping your eyes open and your head up. Two most important things: eyes open, head up. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would call it you can't get an experience from from a vending machine.
Mm-mm.
And what is the experience you're having when you walk in the door of a restaurant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially when you're the first, when you're the face of the like the hostess or host, whoever's at the front stand is the face of the restaurant. You're the first, you were the first impact on that dining guest.
So, and here's the new struggle based on our time. We as human beings are craving realness. So it can't be the same kind of, as you call it, hospitality when you walk in the door now. It's got to be more, at least from what I can tell, a little bit more chill, not so buttoned up.
Yeah, genuine.
Really
you want genuine.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
More genuine than it used to be. So it's like this interesting dilemma, I think, that a lot of organizations are facing when it comes to that kind of service-oriented businesses,
It is difficult. So, one of the things that I try to instill, and this is a good lesson, I think you can do this in any company. First and foremost, I talked about being present and being engaged, right? And we're all so distracted by having to, we think we have to multitask. But, if you look at the actual numbers, multitasking is one of the most inefficient ways to work. It really is. It typically takes, if you interrupt yourself doing one thing and go back to doing the first task that you haven't finished yet, it can take up to, or if you're interrupted while doing that task, like looking at your phone or phone calls or texts or whatever. And no, this is not aimed at anyone personally. I'm just saying that it can take you up to 10 times as long to finish the work. 10 times.
Yeah.
Like in Germany, if you were on Facebook on your computer in Germany, they'd throw you out the window and fire you. They'd throw you out first, then fire you. It's very disrespectful during time that you're at work getting paid to be on not just social media, but surfing the net or, listen to the radio or something. Well, you could probably listen to the radio, as long as it's low and just in your ear. And it's funny because we think of them as very scientific, but they're very creative and they're a very artistic country as well. So, or culture.
Mm-hmm.
But, here, I don't know why it's acceptable that when you walk into a restaurant or a service establishment, especially in the food and beverage industry, that you don't focus on the guest. Why is that allowable? So you said when people actually engage you and say hello, more times than not, people say hello when I walk in. But even better yet was when you leave, when they say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you? All right, have a good night. Thank you. Even something like that doesn't have to be big and, thank you for coming. Hope to see you soon. No, just keep it simple and genuine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and it could be.
Yeah, it makes.
I hope we can do it.
Well, we can. So I'm sorry, I keep talking over you. Go ahead, Karen.
No, you don't. I think I'm interrupting.
No. But I think the point I was trying to get to is you have to teach
little brother,
big sister, but you're shorter, way shorter. But just saying. I think one of the things that we do, because we're also distracted, right? It's very hard to feel engaged and involved in your workplace. And when that's the case, it's hard to take ownership. One of my managers early on taught me how to take ownership, and he said, "Look, if and I use this example all the time. I had walked in, there was a straw wrapper on the floor, and this particular restaurant that I worked at, we all had to enter through the front door, and then we would you had to exit through the front door as well. Now I was the chef, I didn't have to, but I liked to, so I kept the same protocol as the rest of the staff, and I set the example." But I walked in, I was executive chef. This is a very nice restaurant. And I walked by a straw wrapper on the ground. And the general manager, who was not the proprietor, did not have any stake in the game other than bonuses based on performance and his salary. But he said, "Hey, Patrick," he goes, "come here." I was like, "What?" We'll call him Roger because that was his name. I said, "What's up, Roger?" He goes, "You see that straw wrapper there?" I said, "Well, yeah, I kind of saw it at the corner of my eye." He goes, "How about picking that up?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah. Well, what if your mom were coming in to dine tonight?" I was, okay, this might have been younger in my career, but I go, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, would you leave it there? If you own this restaurant and your mother was coming in to dine, would you leave it there?" And I was like, "Well, probably not." He goes, "Well, imagine that everybody here's mother's coming to dine tonight, and they all own the restaurant because we all get paid based on all of our performances, right? So we really do own the restaurant. We run the restaurant. We are, whether or not we perform means whether or not we make money and we all get paid. So we all own the restaurant. So would you pick the straw wrapper up? And I was like, man, brilliant, brilliant. So empowering. Yeah. Now I have a question for you though, and how do you do that? How do you? And I'm sorry, look, listeners, you're not. I don't know if you're falling off or gaining speed, but hey, seriously, think about this. Think about you talked about you asked your clients the other day, what was the takeaway? What was the one thing you got most out of this? I do that when I go to restaurants. It's like, what is the one thing I can take away from here? All right. I was at a hotel. It was it's an old bank that they had renovated in downtown Denver. And I thought about this taking ownership, right? It really struck me because I walked in, I took a piece of hard candy out of the bowl. It's the West End in downtown Denver. And I opened it and I put it, I ate the candy and I had the wrapper in my hand. And a bellman from behind me, from 30 feet away, came up, tapped me on the head and said, here, I'll take that for you. And I was like, are you kidding me? From 30 feet away, this guy saw me eat the candy. I didn't know what to do with the wrapper because there was no visible garbage can. He walked across the room and said, sir, let me take that for you. I'll take care of it. I was like, wow, that is hospitality. That's thinking ahead, thinking for the guest. I don't want to have to decide what to do all the time. Would you like it? Would you like a booth or well, I don't know. You tell me which is a better seat. Just take me the best seat in the house. Yeah. That's available.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's awesome.
I think there's some other issues here, though. We are stretched really thin in the hospitality industry from a staffing perspective.
Oh yeah, it's different.
Yes, it is.
It's different than when I was. Yeah, and it's different than when I was in the industry. I waited on tables and bartended and hung out in a lot of kitchens and
Yes, you have. There was a family in Saratoga. Was it who they owned? What, DeAndre's? They owned. Did they own all the restaurants? Yeah. Did they own Firehouse as well? Was that the same family?
They did.
Okay, and then they had the Rafters.
No, they didn't have the Rafters. It was just those two. Just DeAndre's and the Firehouse. Okay, and then but the Rafters was owned by another family that owned several other restaurants, right? Or establishments? No, they just owned the Rafters. That was Greg and Judy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So that was their place. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, what was different? So what would you, if you could take stuff from, we'll say 10 years ago when you're in the hospitality industry, more like, a couple times that, but what was different then than today? What's the difference? Why? No, let's think about it. What is different in the service industry, the hospitality industry, the food and beverage industry? What's different today than then?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. One of the things I think is we didn't have cell phones, right? If somebody wanted to get a hold of us, they actually had to call us at the restaurant, and that would only be for an extreme emergency, right? So we weren't actually interacting with our phones while we were taking a 5-minute break or going out for a smoke or whatever people are doing. We were actually standing there talking to each other as opposed to working with our machine that's in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not criticizing that because, hey, it's part of the game now, right? But in order to be present, we literally have to be available to not be thinking about the guy who just broke up with us through a text or the girl, or it's a really different time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, for me, I was innately geared that way. The funniest thing was when somebody asked me where the ladies' room was, and I go, it's over here. And then I said, oh, thank you so much. I was just I was like, oh, my God, I just crossed the line for myself.
That's funny. So that's funny.
But not everybody
Go ahead.
that way. Yeah, so, yeah.
No, you brought up an interesting point. So, we talk about being present a lot, right? All right, so we're going to wrap. We have 2 minutes left. So we'll wrap this up real quick. But being present, all right, fully present, aware, actively listening, but being available. In order to be present, you have to be available. So in order to be available, that means no other distractions, right? no electronics,
Right.
No chit chat with friends. I mean, if you really want to take your customer experience, go ahead. I'm sorry.
A little bit.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I don't mean that,
not
but
like hanging out, right?
well,
Yeah.
but not when you're engaged with a guest. Right? When you're engaged with a guest,
Right.
you're engaged with a guest. If somebody's walking by with a tray, you don't need to look. As long as they're not hitting you in the head, you're okay. Just focus on the
Right.
guest experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're right. It is a different time. I think if we could all step back, though, focus on the task at hand and live in that moment a little more often. I think we'd all have a much more fun in our dining and just experiences in general when it comes to any sort of service, any sort of customer service.
And even, I mean, this is, once again, too big of a topic, but even the people that are dining aren't as available to be dining because I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I just need to send a text to someone, because I'm waiting to hear from someone. And we used to have to wait until we got home. Like, nobody died. You know what I mean?
I do.
So even the guests are sort of less engaged in the experience.
That's
interesting.
That's an interesting. So look, as we go forward, Karen, I know I'm going to make you commit, but we're gonna do this as a regular segment on Mondays. I don't know when exactly it will start, but we're gonna delve a little deeper into just human interaction in general and some really fun stuff. Hopefully, give some tidbits and have a little fun. Look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to run here, but I love you very much. Happy belated birthday, and give Kevin a big hug from me, and anything else is from you.
Okay, love you too, Patrick.
Bye, Karen. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Dessert is now done. Fourth course consumed. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Please come back tomorrow, 11 Central. 1 o'clock Central. We'll see you then. Bye.